Greetings, Flight from Zors here. We're going to be going over hard mode Revan, the big guy, the one and only. Really tough fight. Lots of stuff, lots of mechanics to this fight. Probably going to be splitting up this particular video into two parts. The first one covering the first and second floor, and the second part covering the third floor with the machine core and everything. Shouldn't be a long video, but lots of mechanics. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not going to be going over a lot of the intricacies of a lot of the mechanics. I won't be covering what a lot of different classes should be doing, except in passing. So if you're new to this fight, I highly recommend checking out Zor's channel, the rest of the videos, and going through the general guides that a few of the other members of my guild have out, just to see the general mechanics of the fight before actually coming to this video and seeing what you can do to maximize your DPS as a sniper. So definitely check those videos out if you already have, or if you've already pulled this boss quite a bit and you feel like you have a really good grasp of most of the mechanics, then cool, you're in the right place. So really quick, I love Virulence for this fight. I don't think anybody really, except for maybe Shulk, likes Marksman for this fight, but Virulence has much more mobility for this fight, that burst mobility that you need. Those global cooldowns where you just need to get somewhere really fast is really nice. It's a very highly mobile fight, so you just need to be constantly moving to maximize that DPS. So Virulence, in my opinion, is much better. I do prefer a 2-coal rotation rather than a 3-coal, although there is room to do a 3-coal towards the end of like the HK phase or the Revan phase or the machine core, when you need to finish something off and below 30%, because it does do increased damage. Or in the beginning, when you have all the buffs, 3-coal rotation is a lot of damage as well when you have all the class buffs available. So let's jump right in, see some of this stuff. I don't actually do a 3-coal rotation here, unfortunately, but just to jump right in, just do a 2-coal just in case I need to actually roll out for the dot, which I think I get right off the bat. I'm not sure. I don't, so just end up staying there. Most of the time I actually end up being a backup for the knockbacks. Neither of my groups actually coordinate knockbacks. Right here I get the beam. When it comes to the beam, you can either roll out to break it or walk out and then roll in. Rolling in max kind of increases your DPS a little bit, because you never really know how much room you actually need to roll out, so you could overshoot it. Kind of, not really, but yeah. Another beam coming out, I get it again. At this point I should have popped Entrench. For this fight I actually do get the speed buff for Entrench, which is really good, and I pretty much use Entrench on cooldown during this phase just to get that speed buff, so I can constantly move in and out of the group whenever it's needed. You also notice I put Shield Probe, got Shield Probe up right when Heap comes out. Even without the cooldown reduction on that ability, you can do Shield Probe on cooldown, and it lines up perfectly with Heave. And you see here my knockback actually didn't get the Blade of Alec off, but it doesn't really matter because you'll see Revan's already at 64%. He's pushed and the blades disappear. So if you see Revan's below 70%, don't worry about getting into the perfect position to knock back those swords. Now, I'm actually going to pause it here real quick. HK phase is kind of annoying. I'm not going to go too much into the mechanics, but I am going to go into what I do as a sniper to mitigate those grenades as much as possible. For this particular group, I don't actually cover a interrupt, but if I did, I will tell you when I actually do the interrupt in my other group for when I'm DPSing the middle droid. But basically what the cycle is going to be is I tank the first grenade. The first grenade that comes out, regardless of anything, I just stay away from the group, let it pop, and I'm good. And I just swap to the middle droid, kill it, swap back to HK, and it's fine. Usually I get a couple dots on the droid, the middle droid, before the grenade blows up, but it's whatever. After the shield comes up, if the shield doesn't come up right in the beginning, after the shield comes up, I pop Entrench before grenades come out. That way Entrench will be up for the grenade after next. So, and then there's evasion, the one after that one. So basically the order goes: first grenade you tank, second grenade you entrench, third grenade, you evasion, and if there's a fourth grenade, you entrench that one too because you popped in entrench early. And I'll show you here what I mean by all that. So basically, HK comes down. You can pre-dot like I did. Don't do Weakening Blast until he jumps down. When he jumps down, Weakening Blast gives you that perfect global cooldown to actually save Cole until his shield actually drops. Because he can drop down, but you can cast Cole and you'll waste 2 ticks because he's immune. Weakening Blast gives you that buffer. And you see here he didn't actually use grenades. He just summoned droids and that was it, which is good. Grenades are coming though, and I believe I just end up tanking it. I think he does the shield first, yep. Does the shield, and then he goes the grenades out. I end up popping my entrench anyway. Don't stay in the circle if you have entrench, because people are there and they don't have grenades, so don't blow other people up. Definitely walk out of the circle regardless. The benefit of having entrench is that you're not stunned, so you can get right back in the shield. And here it's basically just a simple 2-fold rotation over and over and over again, which is really good. Don't worry about the reflect damage, it's nothing. So definitely reapply dots if you need to when you're outside the shield, like planting evasion or tanking it with entrench or anything like that. So right there, what our tanks do, which is perfect, is they tank HK right here on the inner ring. So when the droids actually spawn, you can splash dot, which is awesome. Because usually when that happens, your rotation Cole ends up coming up, which is perfect. So you can just splash dot, 1 global cooldown, and jump straight into Cole. Perfect. Which is exactly what I do here. You get a massive amount of damage on the entropy droid, which is great. End up getting a series of shots on it, which is really good. Avoid the cleave. The cleave is a little weird. The cleave's AoE is definitely not indicative of where it actually is. So if you're taking damage, get out of it quick. Utilize your roll as much as possible. Don't panic with it though. You see here, just simple shield, bro, and entrench, and it's like nothing. And then it's GG. It's HK phase. Really simple stuff. For the stairs, that's really easy. I don't think you need any tips for the stairs. Still, every once in a while, I'll use entrench for the stairs just to get up there quicker. Healers are going to complain a little bit about not grouping up, but getting up there faster definitely saves a lot of damage just by killing those cores faster. So yeah, I usually do dot, Weakening Blast Cole on the first one, immediately switch to the second one, lethal shot, series of shots, takedown on the second one. So basically it's just going to be the same rotation, but you're swapping targets. You're not dotting up everyone, you're only dotting up every other one. So on this third one, it's dot, Weakening Blast. At this point, you should be popping Lace Target. My rotation got a little bit screwed up, and I didn't. But yeah, Lace Target should come up right here, and you should precast it, quote unquote, here, because Revan comes out and you have that cooldown available. Now right here, second floor starts, and I'm sure you've either seen or done second floor before, so I'm not going to get too much into the specific pattern, but what I will get into is how entrench works with this. Entrench works beautifully for this phase. You can mitigate 66% of the knockbacks and pull-ins with entrench. So the first knockback and the first pull-in will be mitigated by entrench. The second knockback you actually have to tank, and then the second pull-in and the third knockback is mitigated by entrench. So basically, every 2 mechanics you have to tank. And you'll see that here, and I'll tell you specifically when to actually do it. So Heave comes out, and Heave comes out basically when you do dot, Weakening Blast. And you start Cole basically when he finishes Heave. And then right here you see I have entrench up, but as soon as Cole is done, at the bar in the way, but as soon as entrench is done, I pop, or as soon as Cole is done, I pop entrench, and that's when the knockback happens. And you can stay there if you want. It doesn't really matter as long as you timed it well. Entrench is going to keep you from being pulled in when the pull-in actually happens. And if you need to knock back the Bladed Revan, you probably could knock back the Bladed Revan since you can do that. And right here, I actually think I do because everybody fucked up the knockback. So here, this knockback right here, entrench is on cooldown. You're gonna have to take. I end up rolling through Revan and then just casting Cole. And you'll see that the entrench and the roll and all of your abilities line up perfectly with this. So very rarely actually have to break any of your casts during this phase. And you see here I popped Entrench again, mitigated that, and the speed boost from Entrench gets me to the next location just fine. And that lined up perfectly with my rotation for the dot application, so I didn't lose any DPS there either, because I had to reapply dots. And then right here, Entrench mitigated so I can actually get that full series of shots off. And then more coal. Now here you actually have to delay your dots for the roll, but it's fine because he's low enough. He's at 33%. You don't really need to squeeze in a lot more DPS anyway, because you have to hold DPS at 30%. So right here is the tricky one. There's one more knockback coming, but all you really need to do is reapply dots. You see that right here, you save, reapply dots, and boom, he's pushed. And that's it. So really simple stuff. Don't know how long I've talked about all this stuff, but really simple things. This is mostly healing intensive and tank coordinating phases. So there's not much you can really do other than just push as much DPS as humanly possible. The only things you can really screw up is during the HK phase with grenade. Things to stay away from would be standing near people when you have Entrench, evasioning the grenades in the wrong area, not getting your interrupts with the droids. I didn't go over that, but it's pretty straightforward. You see me basically throw the dots on the middle droid. Well, during that is when you interrupt, basically. If you notice, I actually have my interrupt on 1, and 1 is the first button on the first quick bar. Something about the Old Republic is the first button on the first quick bar, you use that ability if you right-click an enemy. So since my interrupt is in that particular location, all I have to really do is right-click an enemy and it interrupts them automatically as long as the ability's not on cooldown. Just a quick tip: if you're not particularly attached to your keybinds, you can consider doing that if you have trouble finding interrupt or getting interrupt off or anything like that. I find it very useful, very quick, very helpful, especially when you have a lot of responsibility as in these ops when you're DPS and you have to get interrupts off and stuff like that. And in PvP, it's really nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you really have to pay attention to. Is the HK phase is really the biggest hump, and then we get into the third phase, which I'll be getting into in the second video. So I will see you guys there. Leave any comments, suggestions, concerns in the comments below, and I'll get back to you guys. So have a good one.